A vast, diseased silence hangs over the void as the camera drifts toward a crippled Tyranid bioship, its once perfect flesh now swollen with rot. The lights are dim, flickering like dying organs struggling to beat. Thick green fog coils around its surface as if the ship itself is breathing out decay. And then the whisper begins, low, trembling, as though even speaking the truth risks attracting something ancient. They were never meant to feel pain, never meant to slow, never meant to die like this. A sudden close-up reveals chitin plate splitting open, pus oozing like molten wax as Nurgle's corruption pulses inside the creature's flesh. They were the devourers of galaxies, the living storm that nothing could infect. But what happens when the unstoppable begins to rot from within? The frame cuts rapidly through nightmarish glimpses, a hive tyrant coughing clouds of plague spores, a carnifex collapsing under its own tumors, genostealers dragging themselves across disease-soaked ground. The whisper deepens, this is no ordinary infection, this is blasphemy against nature itself. Darkness swallows the scream. This is the terrifying corruption of the Tyranid swarm by Nurgle. The atmosphere shifts from shock to somber clarity as the documentary begins. The narrator explains that the Tyranids, the galaxy's most efficient biological predators, were engineered by unknowable forces beyond the Milky Way to resist every disease, every parasite, every weakness that could slow their endless hunger. They are not creatures, they are a weaponized ecosystem ruled by a single all-controlling intelligence, the hive mind. To corrupt even one Tyranid is nearly impossible. To corrupt an entire swarm is unthinkable. Yet the Warhammer 40K galaxy is ruled by horrors that defy biology, and among them stands Nurgle, the chaos god of decay and plague, whose love for spreading rot has no limits. As the narrator speaks, the visuals shift between healthy Tyranid fleets in their terrifying perfection and the slow, creeping darkness of plague-ridden worlds swallowed by Nurgle's touch. The viewer is gently guided into the central premise. This documentary explores the forbidden scenario of what happens when the perfect organism meets the eternal rot, how a chaos god attempts to twist the devourers into his own diseased children, and what it means for a galaxy already on the brink of destruction. The tone remains heavy, mysterious, and foreboding, as if the viewer is about to witness a violation of nature so extreme that even the hive mind would scream in terror. The first signs of corruption are subtle, almost imperceptible. A lone splinter fleet drifts silently through the warp-tainted corridors of space, its enormous bioships gleaming faintly against the void. The Tyranid psychic link is strong, unyielding, and precise, coordinating every movement of the countless creatures on board. Yet, within the shadows of these flawless organisms, Nurgle's influence begins to take root. Tiny spores, green and glistening, cling to the hull of a bioship. At first, they seem harmless, insignificant against the perfect biology of the Tyranid. But spores are patient, and Nurgle is meticulous. Within hours, the spores begin to penetrate the outer chitin, creating small lesions that ooze a foul, thick fluid. The zoanthropes detect this intrusion and send psychic warnings to the hive mind, but the signals are drowned in the psychic hum of the fleet. It is a disease the Tyranids have never encountered, one that does not simply kill, but corrupts, mutates, and warps the very essence of their being. Within the first infected pods, small mutations begin to appear. Gaunts develop bloated sacs of green pus, their exoskeletons cracking and splitting in places. The hive mind registers these anomalies but dismisses them as natural variation within the fleet. It is a fatal mistake. Nurgle's corruption spreads quietly, targeting synapse creatures and peripheral organisms first, slowly undermining the cohesion of the fleet. What began as a distant anomaly soon becomes a creeping plague. The viewer sees the once perfect Tyranids faltering, moving slower, twitching unnaturally, their eyes clouded with sickness. The camera lingers on the Hive Tyrants, unaware that the infection is a seed that will grow into a nightmare far beyond the comprehension of the galaxy's most efficient predators. The hive mind is the unchallenged intelligence of the Tyranid species. It controls billions of organisms, directing fleets with flawless efficiency. Yet even this unparalleled psychic entity is vulnerable when confronted by a force beyond biology, Nurgle. The Chaos God does not attack with brute strength, He attacks with patience, with corruption, with a slow decay that seeps into every synapse and neuron. The first targets are the psychic links connecting the synapse creatures to the hive mind. Zoanthropes begin to twitch uncontrollably, their psychic emanations no longer precise, their minds clouded with visions of decay and disease. The hive mind attempts to correct the anomaly, sending waves of psychic energy to stabilize its synapse network. But the rot has already taken hold. The spores within the organism's tissues secrete neurotoxins that interfere with their perception of the hive mind's commands. Warriors and carnifexes begin to ignore orders, moving in erratic, unpredictable patterns. The viewer witnesses the first true horror, the most efficient killing machine in the galaxy beginning to falter, its perfect coordination breaking down. Nurgle's influence also manifests physically. Chitinous plates swell and warp, tumors appear along the limbs of creatures, and pus-filled sacs rupture, releasing clouds of infectious spores. The hive mind tries to adapt, but every action is countered by Nurgle's insidious creativity. The perfect creatures of the galaxy are no longer purely biological weapons, they are hosts, vessels, and pawns of a god who thrives on decay. As the camera pans across the fleet, it shows once pristine organisms twisting under corruption, synapse connections failing, and the hive mind wailing in a psychic scream unheard across the cosmos. Nurgle's patient strategy has proven one undeniable truth: even the hive mind cannot resist the inevitability of rot. The first fully corrupted Tyranids are terrifying to behold, a grotesque mockery of their former selves. Genestealers, once sleek and deadly predators, now crawl across the ground with bloated limbs and rotting flesh, their claws dripping with infectious ooze. They are faster in their frenzy, but mindlessly aggressive, attacking anything, including their own kin, as the disease drives them into an uncontrollable frenzy. These plague-infected genestealers are a harbinger of what Nurgle's corruption can accomplish. Creatures that were once instruments of precision now embody chaos itself. The viewer then sees the emergence of the Plague Tyrant, a Hive Tyrant whose synapse node has been overrun by demon larvae. Its wings are tattered, its carapace swollen and cracked, and clouds of spores constantly drift from its maw. Its psychic control is fragmented, spreading corruption as much as it attempts to command. Even the most fearsome warriors of the fleet become victims, their powerful forms rotting into almost unrecognizable shapes. The camera lingers on a carnifex, once a battering ram of living destruction, now immobilized under its own tumors. With each attempt to move, pus-filled sacs burst violently, spraying plague spores into the air. The biological perfection of the Tyranids is undone, replaced by a horrifying new efficiency, one that kills not with coordinated assault, but with uncontrolled infection and decay. The scene transitions to wide shots of battlefields where these corrupted organisms rampage, infecting everything they touch, leaving devastation not just through violence but through the invisible, creeping hand of disease. Nurgle's power has transformed the Tyranids, creating creatures that are no longer just predators, they are carriers of terror, rotting and consuming in ways even the hive mind cannot comprehend. It is only when the corruption spreads beyond containment that the hive mind begins to fully realize the magnitude of the disaster. From the center of the splinter fleet, a psychic scream erupts, a signal of alarm that reverberates through billions of organisms. The hive mind, the ultimate predator of the galaxy, struggles to comprehend the loss of control. Attempts are made to purge infected pods, to isolate compromised organisms, and to incinerate those beyond recovery. Massive bioships begin self-destruct sequences to contain the plague, erupting into waves of biomass and disease. Yet every act of violence against its own flock only feeds Nurgle's influence. The Chaos God thrives on death, decay, and suffering, and the destruction of Tyranid organs releases new spores that accelerate the corruption. Synapse links that were once unbreakable now crack under the psychic assault, spreading panic among warriors and gaunts alike. Entire regions of the fleet descend into chaos, organisms attacking each other, the synchronized rhythm of the hive mind replaced by discordant, desperate movements. Wide shots of bioships drifting in darkness, riddled with holes and oozing green mist, illustrate the scope of the disaster. Nurgle's patience has brought the galaxy's deadliest predator to a breaking point, and the hive mind is forced to confront a terrifying reality: the corruption is no accident. It is deliberate, intelligent, and unstoppable. The turning point is marked not by battle, but by the complete loss of coordination. Even the viewer begins to feel the weight of the horror. The perfect order of the Tyranids is dissolving, and a god of decay is winning. Nurgle's triumph manifests as the first true hybrid organisms. Across the corrupted fleet, demonic larvae fuse with Tyranid biomass, creating abominations that are more than disease. They are living embodiments of rot and plague. Massive plague bio-titans rise from the chaos, their bodies swollen with fungal growths and tumors, tentacles writhing as spores leak into space. These creatures retain some of their predatory instinct, but now their actions serve a dual purpose: to feed the hive mind fragments that remain, and to spread Nurgle's corruption further. The most horrifying development is the emergence of what the galaxy comes to know as the Rotmind, a corrupted central synapse node where the hive mind and Nurgle's demonic influence merge. It is both intelligent and insane, capable of commanding the surviving fleet with strategic brilliance, yet every order is laced with decay and disease. Planets that fall to this hybrid swarm do not experience mere destruction, they experience biological annihilation, entire ecosystems collapsing as the plague swarm feeds and mutates. The camera focuses on wide shots of worlds being consumed, with cities overgrown by fungal growths, air thick with spores, and water turned to slime. The viewer witnesses a new faction emerge, the Decayed Swarm, neither purely Tyranid nor purely demonic, but a terrifying fusion of both. These creatures symbolize the ultimate triumph of rot over perfection. The galaxy is forced to confront a new kind of predator, one that does not only consume life but spreads corruption on a scale previously unimaginable. Nurgle has not simply won, he has redefined the Tyranids entirely, creating a force that will haunt the galaxy for millennia. The emergence of the Decayed Swarm sends ripples of terror through the Imperium and beyond. Worlds that once anticipated invasion from Tyranids now face a threat compounded by chaos. The Imperium issues emergency exterminatus protocols, vaporizing planets in a desperate attempt to contain the infection. But the spores, resilient and self-replicating, escape into space, spreading contamination even in the vacuum. Other Tyranid fleets, sensing the psychic anomaly of the Rotmind, steer clear of the corrupted region, avoiding what was once their own kind. The Eldar, ever attuned to psychic disturbances, warn that this is no ordinary plague, it is a mutation of the very nature of the Tyranid race, a threat beyond comprehension. Orcs, seeing a battlefield of chaos and decay, celebrate with their usual manic enthusiasm, dubbing the creatures the squishy stinkbugs, but even their crude strategies cannot halt the hybrid swarm's expansion. Nurgle's corruption has introduced unpredictability into the galaxy's balance of power. Planets once deemed safe become breeding grounds for disease, and star systems tremble under the weight of potential invasion. The camera pans over ruined cities, forests turn to fungal wastelands, and skies choked with green haze. Each scene reinforces the central truth: even the most perfect organisms can fall. The galaxy has witnessed not just the corruption of flesh but the reshaping of entire species, a chilling reminder that no entity, no matter how seemingly invincible, is beyond the reach of rot and decay. In a desperate final attempt, the Imperium unites with Eldar forces to strike at the heart of the Rotmind. Bioships explode in violent bursts, plasma torches and psychic blasts slicing through the hybrid swarm. Yet the Decayed Swarm is unlike any enemy ever encountered. Carnifexes rise again from their own tumors, Genostealers crawl from collapsing synapse nodes, and the Plague Tyrants release clouds of spores that sicken even the Eldar's keen senses. The battlefield becomes a living nightmare, green haze obscuring the stars, corpses rotting as fast as they fall. For a fleeting moment, hope seems possible: entire sections of the corrupted fleet are annihilated, worlds partially reclaimed. But Nurgle's influence is resilient, regenerative, and insidious. Tiny spores that survive begin to spread again, mutating, infecting, and preparing for a second wave. The hive mind fragments, fused with Nurgle's will, ensures that the swarm never fully dies. As the dust settles, the camera reveals the chilling aftermath, a fraction of the plague swarm escaping into deep space, moving silently, patiently, ever hungry, waiting for new worlds to infect. The final narration emphasizes the terrifying inevitability: no matter the victory scored, the galaxy has been forever changed. A predator perfected by evolution has been twisted by a god of decay, and even now, somewhere in the dark reaches of space, it waits, unstoppable, undying, and hungry. The camera slowly pulls back from the drifting remnants of the decayed swarm, the void around them thick with green haze and drifting spores. Silence dominates the vacuum, but the viewer senses a presence, a consciousness that is both alien and divine, watching, waiting, and thriving on decay. The narrator's voice, low and measured, breaks the stillness. The Tyranids, the galaxy's perfect predators, were designed to consume without mercy, to strike without hesitation, to be the ultimate instruments of survival. Yet even they are not immune to corruption. Even perfection can rot. The camera lingers on the grotesque hybrid creatures, their twisted forms crawling across shattered planets, their eyes glowing with the unholy life of Nurgle's influence. Nurgle does not simply destroy. He transforms. He infects. He shapes life into something both horrifying and eternal. And in the Rotmind, the hive mind itself has become his vessel, a galaxy-spanning plague that defies eradication, a predator turned into a harbinger of rot. Wide shots show worlds abandoned, overgrown with fungal forests, skies thick with spores, oceans turned to sickly green sludge. Cities lie in ruin, monuments to civilizations that could not withstand the unstoppable march of disease. No strategy can fully contain it. No fleet can destroy it completely. What survives will continue, moving silently through the stars, patiently hunting for new worlds to consume, to infect, to corrupt. The final shot focuses on a single, rotting bioship drifting into darkness, its silhouette barely visible against the black void. The narrator concludes, a whisper now almost reverent, almost fearful: the hive mind consumes. Nurgle corrupts. Together, they have created something more terrible than either could achieve alone. And in the depths of space, the Rotmind waits, unstoppable, unending, and hungry.